In 2019, a quiet suburban neighborhood in Atlanta became the scene of an unexpected crime investigation that nobody saw coming. It started with a routine traffic stop, but spiraled into something much more sinister. When officers pulled over Marcus Johnson, a 38-year-old father of two, near his home, it seemed like just another stop. But what happened next would turn his life upside down. Marcus had never been in trouble with the law. His background was clean. He worked as a tech consultant, lived in a nice home, and had a reputation as a well-liked, hard-working dad. He was black, and that fact alone would set the stage for the nightmare that followed. As the officers approached Marcus's car, their suspicion wasn't based on any illegal activity. No broken taillight, no speeding, just a simple fact that Marcus's car was parked in a neighborhood known for its high crime rate. But there was more, much more. They found his car locked, parked near his driveway, yet Marcus was nowhere in sight. How could this be? He was only minutes from home. He'd just been driving there. It didn't add up. The officers began to ask questions, but Marcus's alibi was rock solid. He was at home. His wife confirmed it, but that didn't matter. They said the car had been abandoned. But here's the twist. Marcus's phone log revealed he'd been on a call with his wife minutes before the stop. A call that confirmed his location. But that phone call was conveniently missing from the police report. Even worse, a witness came forward, claiming to have seen Marcus near the car earlier. They swore up and down that Marcus had been parked there, and then, without explanation, walked into the woods behind his house. That was the first piece of evidence that didn't add up. Who would park their car and then just disappear into the woods? The witness couldn't provide a clear description of the person they saw. The timeline was shaky at best. It was too convenient. It was almost as if Marcus had been set up. The police dug deeper. A forensics team scoured the woods behind Marcus's home, but nothing turned up. No footprints. No broken branches. Just silence. Meanwhile, Marcus's neighbors, some of whom were close friends, began to wonder, had Marcus really been the one behind the wheel? Why would he park so close to his house and walk away? Marcus's personal life seemed spotless. He was a family man, a devoted father. But now, doubt started creeping in. They focused on his past, digging into every detail of his life, from school records to old friends. They found nothing. No red flags. No connections to any criminal activity. But still, they had questions. When the police turned their attention to the gate logs, records of security cameras that monitored the neighborhood entrances, things took a wild turn. The security footage from Marcus's neighborhood gate showed him driving in just minutes before the stop. That was normal, but the log also showed something else. His car had passed through the security gate twice in less than an hour. First, Marcus's car had driven in at 7:03 p.m. Then, 45 minutes later, it came back through the gate again. But wait, he hadn't parked his car at the gate. It was near his house. Why would Marcus drive and leave and then return so quickly? The car had never been reported as stolen. It wasn't involved in any criminal activity. So why this strange behavior? Was he trying to hide something? The log didn't lie. But the police were still missing something. Something crucial. The moment they checked the security footage from inside the neighborhood, everything changed. It revealed Marcus leaving his car, walking into the woods and vanishing, just like the witness had claimed. It was him. But what happened next was even stranger. A series of phone calls made from Marcus's cell phone didn't match the timeline the police were working with. At the same time Marcus was missing from his car, phone records showed multiple calls placed to his wife and colleagues. But the police couldn't trace those calls. How could this be? Was Marcus really there? Or was someone else using his phone to cover their tracks? Was he in trouble? Or was someone else pulling the strings? The investigation took another bizarre turn when it was revealed that Marcus had been caught on the neighborhood's other security footage. The cameras picked up footage of a man who looked shockingly similar to Marcus, fleeing the scene in a different car. The twist? It wasn't Marcus's car. It was an identical model with a different license plate. Why was someone using his car, and why were they leaving the area with it? The police were stumped. Was Marcus really guilty? Or was there something bigger at play? Was there a deep conspiracy to frame him? Was it possible that Marcus was being manipulated by someone with an agenda? His wife, in a panic, turned to social media, begging anyone who might know what happened to come forward. The community rallied around Marcus, questioning everything. They pointed to the inconsistencies in the case. Why hadn't Marcus been told about the security footage sooner? Why wasn't he warned about the discrepancies in the gate logs? Why wasn't the missing phone call mentioned until after fact? As the twist mounted, so did the pressure on the police. Some began to suspect corruption within the force. Has there been a cover-up? Was someone trying to frame Marcus for something he didn't do? Suspicion loomed over every detail, and it all came to a head when a shocking new lead emerged. Just as the case was about to be dismissed, an anonymous tip came through. Someone had seen Marcus's car being driven by a stranger, someone with a mysterious connection to the neighborhood. But who were they? And why hadn't they come forward sooner? What were they hiding? As the police rushed to track down this new lead, the story took another dramatic turn. Marcus was finally found, but not where anyone expected. He was nowhere near his home. And he wasn't alone. He was with someone else. Someone who had been hiding in plain sight. Who were they? What role did they play in Marcus's strange disappearance? Was Marcus a victim? Or was he something much darker than anyone realized? The answers were out there. But as the investigation took a chilling new direction, one thing was certain. Nothing would ever be the same. What happened to Marcus Johnson? Why did the truth get buried in a maze of lies and contradictions? The clock is ticking, and the answers are just out of reach. Just when it seemed like the Marcus Johnson case couldn't get any stranger, it did. The police had found Marcus, alive, but nowhere near his home. And he wasn't alone. Marcus was found in a remote cabin, deep in the woods, with a woman who had never been seen before. A woman who, it turned out, had a shocking connection to the neighborhood. You're not going to believe this. She was Marcus's estranged half-sister. But wait, there's more. The moment Marcus was found, he was immediately questioned. His story? Wild. He claimed he had no idea how he ended up in the cabin, saying he woke up there with a headache, no memory of the past 24 hours, and no idea who the woman was at his side. But his family wasn't buying it. His wife, in particular, was furious. She couldn't understand why he hadn't told her about the estranged sister. She had no idea she even existed. The police were equally confused. Why hadn't Marcus mentioned her sooner? What was she doing there? Then the real bombshell dropped. The woman wasn't just anyone. She was connected to someone in Marcus's life in a way no one could have predicted. She was the daughter of a former business partner of Marcus's father, a shady character with a criminal history that stretched all the way back to the 80s. This business partner, now dead, was rumored to have been involved in a money laundering scheme, which had long been buried under layers of legal paperwork. But the most shocking part? That same business partner was believed to have been connected to the neighborhood's development company, the very company that helped build Marcus's upscale neighborhood, and the very company that held the key to the neighborhood security system. Coincidence? I don't think so. Now, the investigation wasn't just about Marcus anymore. It was about everything that had been hidden in the shadows of this neighborhood. And the deeper they dug, the more secrets they uncovered. It didn't take long for police to realize that Marcus's estranged sister wasn't just hiding. She'd been under surveillance for months. The woman had been living under an alias, using a fake name, and had been quietly collecting intel on Marcus. But why? What was her endgame? Was she working with someone? The police began to track her movements, and that's when they found something shocking. She'd been using Marcus's own phone number to make calls to his wife, disguised as Marcus. The calls were short, cryptic, and always at strange hours. But Marcus had no memory of any of it. The stakes escalated when investigators got their hands on one critical piece of evidence: the security footage from Marcus's neighborhood gates. Remember the strange logs from earlier? The logs that showed Marcus's car driving in and out in the middle of the night? Well, when they pulled the footage again, it didn't just show his car. It showed someone else in the car. And they weren't just driving around. They were heading straight to the security hub where all the cameras were controlled. Whoever was in that car had direct access to the system. The log entries, the phone calls, the suspicious activities all pointed to one thing. Marcus wasn't the target. He was a decoy. And then it hit them. Marcus had been framed, not just by anyone, but by someone who knew his every move, someone with deep access to his life. But who? His estranged sister? A business associate? A neighbor? With new leads in hand. The investigators turned to Marcus's personal history, looking for any ties to the shady business dealings from his father's past. And what they uncovered was jaw-dropping. Marcus's father, before his death, had been working on a real estate deal that involved purchasing a massive chunk of land near Marcus's current home. That land? It had been slated for development into high-end apartments. But the deal had fallen apart after Marcus's father's mysterious death. But there was one last lingering contract tied directly to Marcus. The deal had never officially been closed, leaving a massive sum of money on the table. The new landowner? None other than the estranged sister's mother. It was becoming clear. Marcus had unwittingly inherited a problem that had been brewing for years, a financial windfall tied to illegal activities. But here's the kicker. The entire scheme might have been orchestrated from the shadows by someone close to Marcus all along. Someone who wasn't just after money. No, they wanted something much more. They wanted control. The neighborhood's development wasn't about bricks and mortar. It was about something bigger. And Marcus's family, his entire life, had been pulled into this twisted game, whether they realized it or not. The clock was ticking now. The investigators realized that Marcus's half-sister wasn't just hiding out. She was likely being controlled by someone far more dangerous. Someone who had been pulling strings from behind the scenes all along. And if they didn't move fast, this person would make their next move, one that would change everything. Marcus, now a man caught in the web of a dangerous conspiracy, was still reeling from the shocking revelations. His wife didn't know whether to trust him anymore. Was he part of the plot, or was he just another pawn? And just when the police thought they had all the answers, another piece of the puzzle slipped into place. Marcus's phone records. The same records that had been missing earlier were now showing evidence of a final, critical call made at exactly 3:07 a.m. The exact time Marcus's car had been caught on the gate surveillance cameras. But this call wasn't to his wife, or to his estranged sister. It was to someone named J.D., a name the investigators had never encountered before. Who was J.D., and what role did they play in this twisted saga? The police were about to find out. But what would they uncover when they tracked down J.D.? Would they solve the mystery, or would they uncover something even darker? Stay tuned for more.